Daniel, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. All right, so we're going to get started. I have some things that I want to show you all. So please interrupt me whenever things aren't making sense. I want to kind of go over all the things of the WOW program, what has changed, what's new. Some of you are familiar with some of these changes, but I just kind of want to do some clarification. So please interrupt me when needed. I want to show you this PowerPoint. I want to just quickly do a navigation of the website, just so you can see what teachers are seeing, answer any questions, and then let you on your way. I'm sure you've noticed, if you're getting my emails, that we all of a sudden come January have lots of requests coming in, which is great. I say lots, not at all compared to last year's or 2019's requests with over 700, but January already has passed August through December, so we're good. So for those of you who have not yet seen all that we're doing, come the end of the month, we're going to have 8 flights of WOW. When I first joined the program, there were 2. There was WOW in the Classroom and WOW on Wheels. We have since grown for many reasons. 1, 2, 3, 4 flights have been added since the beginning of and/or because of COVID. So you can see on this slide that the WOW in the Classroom is still the beginning of what WOW always was, always will be, those in-person visits and the lessons that we teach. They all include hands-on activities. That will never change. That is our mission, to bring the materials into a classroom that many teachers and schools can't afford, and run a lesson with the activities so students can actually put their hands on things, do the things that we're talking about, and have an experience that they may not be able to have without our budget. So that will always be our main thing. Flight number 2, the WOW on Wheels, that hasn't changed. That's actually become very, very popular over COVID. And that is the teacher's ability to borrow materials, whether they are doing the same lesson that we would be doing, and they borrow all of the things that the kids would have when you bring it into the classroom, or they're borrowing all the other things here in my office/warehouse. So that has not changed. Flight number 3 used to just be WOW TV. And what it used to be was a short video of me explaining to the teachers, hey, if you haven't seen a Bridges lesson yet, here's what the Bridges lesson is. And just literally giving them a summary. We are changing all of the WOW TV videos. We've actually re-recorded the first 11. They'll be going up on the website within the next few weeks. And then we're going to make new videos for all of the new lessons that I created working from home. The new approach to WOW TV for teachers is me actually teaching the lesson, me doing what you would do in the classroom. So when those are up, if you're interested in learning a new lesson, you could watch that kind of instead of the training, which we would always still make available to you. But the WOW TV for teachers is actually the lesson, me teaching, me talking, me explaining, me giving directions for the activity, and then telling them, okay, teachers, pause now. And they would already have all of the materials in hand, and they could run the activity. And then when the kids are done, unpause, and the lesson goes on. So like I said, that'll be up on the website in the next few weeks, or at least the first 10 or 11. So please check that out so you can kind of just get a better idea of what I'm talking about. We created WOW TV for kids over COVID because we were trying to give parents and teachers just something else STEM related for kids to do. It's very similar to our WOW DIY, but for a different kind of student. So they're at-home activities. It's a video, it's a list of materials. It's here's what to do, here's what it would look like. So the WOW TV for kids and the WOW DIY are very similar. WOW teaching tools, flight number 5, that appeared over COVID because again, we were trying to give teachers and parents just more resources. So I call it like a WOW Pinterest. If you've ever been on Pinterest, it's just a bunch of links to something another teacher or another parent has posted. which could, help with STEM at home, basically. WOW Remote Lessons is one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you all today. It's one of our newest. It has appeared because of COVID, since we can't get into the buildings, or most. There are some that will allow it. But the WOW Remote Lessons is exactly what you would do for WOW in the classroom, but you do it here. Jonah's done one of these already. You can actually see his picture there on that slide. Part of my office is now a studio. In that second picture there's a green screen. Sometimes we use the green screen so we can put up the WOW graphic behind it. Sometimes we just have the big, I think Jesse, when you did it, it was just the big WOW logo behind you.
Yep.
But you're doing the same thing. You're teaching the same lesson, the same wording, the same activity. We just send the materials to the class first via our WOW on Wheels delivery program. The teacher has it a few days early to go through it, set up, see how she wants to do her classroom, and then you're teaching from here. It's not ideal. It's not as easy, I don't think, as being in the classroom, but it is a way to help teachers still get what they need. WOW for homeschooling families, our flight number 7, also started over COVID. It's something that the director and I had talked about for the last couple of years, and we really never went forward with it because it doesn't fit our mission. Our mission has always been, okay, sorry. Our mission has always been resources for teachers. And I won't say that we had to fight to get homeschooling on this list, but it was a change that really needed to be discussed and made on how are we going to make this work, because it's not for teachers anymore if it's for homeschooling parents. But we got to a point where so many parents needed to make that change for their child's education that we decided there was nothing to do but help them out. So WOW for homeschooling families grew. And it's basically the same offerings that we give to teachers, but they can do it at home. It kind of works through WOW on Wheels because we are delivering, but they can then do everything at home. And then coming soon, flight number 8, you may have read about this in a couple of emails. We want WOW demonstrations. So this is not a lesson in the fact of there are no hands-on activities. We're not going to be sending the materials, but we keep getting questions from people outside the 35-mile radius that we normally work with, people in other states. Hey, how can we use the WOW program? And in essence, we can't, because we can't get the materials to you. But if we offer WOW demonstrations, where you come in and you teach something and you're live and you're talking to students and you're interacting, but you're just demonstrating something, a chemistry lab, even using cubelets and little bits and talking about robots. It's just one more way that we can reach out and help students and teachers and parents. So this is a graphic here that you will soon see on our website that I hope explains all these different things that teachers and parents can do and request. Which ones are free? Which one involves a wizard, a volunteer coming to them? Which ones that we do via Zoom or Google Meet? Which ones put our materials in the hands of students? Do we deliver it to you? And then where in the country this would work. So that's going to be a new thing on our website here coming very soon. Any questions so far? Because I know right there in 2 slides, that's a whole bunch of information. Okay, I will take that as a no.
Angel, this is Brigham.
Hi, Brigham.
So, the demonstrations are supposed to be live events, right? So that's like you're talking with the audience. The only difference will be that we're not going to stop and pause and do the demonstration, that they'll do it, and we kind of coach them through it virtually. We're going to be just showing them and explaining it, right?
Exactly. Now we do have the option of recording that and just kind of putting it up on the website. So if a teacher wants to show a WOW wizard doing a demonstration on fire safety, Jeff's going to come in one day and he'll do it live with the class, but we'll record it. And if we can't schedule it another time for the next teacher who wants it, she could at least show it to the class, because there are no materials, there are no hands-on. It's literally a lecture and a lesson and a demonstration. But the big difference is not sending materials out. So these could all be different topics. If Brigham wants to do one on robots, and Daniel wants to do one on chemistry, and Chris wants to do one on food science, and then Jeff wants to do one on fire safety, every time they can be different. The big thing about the WOW in the classroom is we've streamlined them so they're all the same every time a teacher sees one. So these can be different and flexible and creative and whatever you want to talk about.
Angel, Jeff Leonard.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, sorry, I got on just a couple of minutes late. I was on another call, but could you go back one slide real quick?
Absolutely. Let me figure out what button I need to push. This one? Is that the slide you want, or you want one more?
No, that's fine. With the WOW for homeschooling families,
Yes.
in-person visit, is that, in the past when I've done that, we've gone to a park or we've gone to a church where they had large group meetings. We're not going to their homes, are we?
You are exactly correct. The few families that I have spoken with that have this kind of a request, I have flat out said, we're not visiting your home. But if you want to get, and I've told them a minimum of 10 students, just so it's worth your time. If you want to do a one-to-one, that would be up to you guys. We're all pretty busy, so I can't imagine that would be feasible very often. So I've asked for a minimum of 10, and then I have told them that they would need to figure out a church, a YMCA, a room in a library, like you said, the park if it gets nice again, but it would never be their home.
Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else before we move on? Okay, so this one I just wanted to make the clarification, and I'm making this change in everything on the website. I'm making this change in all of my emails. There will now be a very specific difference between lessons and demos. Lessons are the WOW in the classroom idea, the full lesson with the hands-on activity with the use of materials. Demos are just you showing your stuff, like the fire safety, like one on food science possibly, even if it's chemistry. It's a very, I want to make sure we're using the right verbiage. So when we put things out or talk to parents and teachers, there's a basic delineation. The lessons have the hands-on activity, the materials from the WOW program, the demos are watching you, and hopefully then, like Brigham and I were just talking about, that verbal interaction, that live interaction. So that's the big difference. If you see somewhere on my website or you see somewhere in an email where I am not using the right word or I've forgotten to change it, please let me know. And as you talk about the program, if you could try to make that change in your vocabulary, that would be awesome. So what happens when you visit a classroom? For those of you that have not done this before, I prepare all the materials for you. I pack the materials for you. You come pick it up and take it with you. You present in the classroom, like in those 3 situations there on the slide. The students get a great hands-on experience. They interact with you, and then you bring the materials back to me. Now, here's a difference, and here's what's caused a few questions and confusion, rightfully so. How do the remote lessons work? Through WOW on Wheels, through my courier, I'm going to send the materials to the classroom a few days early. Like I said before, that gives the teachers a chance to go through it, set it up, see what he or she has in that bin. How is it used? Does everything have a charge? I'm thinking Qubits there. But I will prepare everything then that you would need here. Kind of, you can see there the studio situation. It would all be set up when you got here. You come to the WOW office, you're going to present via Zoom or Google Meet. It's a live interaction, just like that bottom picture there. They will still have the hands-on experience. They won't get as much interaction from you. You won't be able to roam around and talk with them individually, but you can call on them. How do we figure out which one we're calling on? little girl in the front in the green mask. You know, we'll figure that out as we go. So there's not as much interaction. There is more on the teacher to do in this situation, but in the handful that we've already done, they seemed quite willing. So that's our big difference in those. I want to stop there again for questions because this is a change. Okay, good. I will move on there. Who creates the lessons and activities? This has been a question from a few of our newer wizards, so I just wanted to clarify. Unless it's that demonstration where you're coming up with a topic that you want to come in and present and talk about, if it's one of our lessons, you don't have to ever worry about writing it, creating it, what activities will I do? It all happens here. For those of you who know how the WOW program works, you see it says WOW staff. You know how big that is. We'll let it go there. But you don't have to create the lessons. You don't have to figure out what to say. You don't have to find the activities. Unfortunately, I decide everything for you. And then I just ask that you follow the plan as it's written. And we're going to talk about why that is here in just a second. Most of you already know my stories. Can I change it up? Can I add to it? I recognize and welcome that you all put your own flair to it or tell an individual story. But we have had times in the past where the lesson has been so different with a different wizard that the problem was teacher A, who had it on Monday, had a very different experience than teacher B, who had the same lesson on Wednesday. So I ask that you follow the lesson as it's given to you. Now, if you join us for Flight 8 and do a demonstration, say and do everything that you want as long as it's appropriate. Questions there? Okay. How do I know what to do? If you have not been to our SharePoint site, I was going to try and show it to you from this laptop, but I can't get government access from this laptop. So I can always send you this link again. It has all of our lessons, as well as all the activity sheets, the direction sheets, the handouts. So you can always go there to see what is this lesson about. I see that there's a request for Little Bits. I have no idea what Little Bits are. Let me go look before I tell her that I might be interested. Then, once we confirm what you're doing, I'm going to send you a copy of the lesson. And then also when I pack the materials, as most of you know, you're going to get that binder that has everything in it you're going to need. You don't have to worry about printing anything off, remembering to bring it with you. I'm going to take care of packing it for you. How do I know how to do it? Well, when we confirm it, we'll set up a time for you to come in for a training. This can now be done via Zoom as well. The only negative to training via Zoom is, unlike this picture, you're not going to be able to put your hands on the materials as you're learning how to do it. For some lessons, that matters more than the others. But you can also see in that picture, if you haven't been here before, it's a very large conference table, and we can certainly distance at it as well as keep masks on, and you will be trained how to do the lesson. If you're interested in coming to a training for a lesson that you're not yet ready to go teach, you're always welcome to do that as well. Flight number 8, we've talked about this a lot already, so I don't want to go into much more detail. Other than the fact that I am finding some topics that I would like to offer, and I will send that list out to you guys so you can tell me, oh, that's something I might be interested in. And I'm finding activities that would go with it if you're interested. But I really would rather this be organic and come from you. Hey, I have a passion in this. I would love to come teach about it. And you come up with your own demonstration. I can help get materials if needed. But if you have the things in your basement, in your garage, because you already tinker with this and that, I welcome those kinds of creative ideas, which is how we got the fire safety one already. We're going to have one, like I said, on food science. He's actually going to talk a lot about the Scoville units and why certain peppers and wings are hotter than others. And we have one planned on rocketry. There's a fourth one that I cannot remember what it is, parachutes. We have one being planned on parachuting. And then, like I said, I'm looking online myself for just other options to throw out to you. But I would love for you to come to me and say, hey, we don't have a lesson on this, and I know something about it. And Ninth graders might enjoy learning about it. So that's what that is about. And that takes us to the last slide there. So I can bring you back to this. I just want to show you one other thing. Let me go one other place here real quick. I seem to have lost the web page. Give me just a moment. There we go. Okay. If you have not been to the EO website yet, WPAFBSTEM.com, you go to K-12 STEM programs. There you go. As a teacher, this screen drives me batty because it's not alphabetical, but I don't say that to anyone here in the office because it does put us first, which I also think is just as appropriate. Thank you for the giggle. So this is all going to be changing too because we're adding our Flight 8. But if you are talking with teachers or talking with parents, this is where you can send them. We moved our Flight 7 up to the top when it was new, so that will filter down here soon. We're going to add that matrix, that other slide that I was showing you at the beginning, the WOW at a glance. And then this is where they can go. A teacher can click on WOW in the classroom. This is what they're going to find about each of our lessons. We've redone this section of the website, hopefully making it easier for teachers to find what they're looking for. So if they teach 4th grade, they can go here, and these are all the lessons that fit an Ohio Department of Ed standard for 4th graders. And then it gives them a little information about that lesson. On all of our flights, we have put the link, these 3 boxes over here to the right, on how to make the request. Do they want to WOW in the classroom? Do they want it remote? Or do they want to borrow materials through WOW on Wheels? And when you click on this, it's just a SurveyMonkey link. And they fill in all of the information that comes to me then so I can get it planned, scheduled. And that one doesn't want to load. Oh, there you go. So that's WOW on Wheels. This is how I find out what they want. Okay, so we will go back to questions. Who wants to know what? What haven't I told you that you are desperately needing to know right now? Or what do you need repeated? Okay, we can be done then.
Hey, Angel, this is Chris. Can you hear me?
Hi, Chris. Yes.
Hey, so I have been watching, but not real closely on the request sheets. So obviously you're getting some in. It looks like only a few though are the actual in-person, right? It seems like most are going towards the not demo, but the interactive in the classroom, right? Or in the Zoom link.
Yes. Most schools are still not allowing visitors to come into the building.
Okay, that's the big reason. It's just the policies of not having visitors in person.
Correct. I certainly hope at least by next August that we will be back to normal with that. I am not expecting that to be a big change for the rest of this school year. I think superintendents and principals are just going to play it safe as long as possible, which I cannot, judge them for it all. We will continue to offer the remote next year just because it has been beneficial for some teachers. But I expect the WOW in the classroom to still stay pretty low through the rest of the school year. I hope I'm wrong, but I have no idea.
Thank you. How have the remote ones worked? I mean, just, calling on people, interacting, have you seen how they've worked?
So I think we've done 6 before Christmas. I actually have 2 of those wizards on with us. Jonah and Jesse both came in a couple times and did some WOW remote lessons. So I'm going to open it up to them and they can tell you what they thought. Me sitting here in the background, I thought it went really well, but I'm sure it was a little bit awkward not being, in person with them. So I will let them talk.
Well, one of the challenges that I had was not being able to see the entire students. So, for example, when they're doing the activity where they're trying to simulate the Earth and Moon going around the sun, I couldn't really see them doing it. So I had to ask the teacher if they were doing it right. But other than that, I thought it went really well.
So,
Jesse had a completely different experience. Tell them what happened.
so I taught the lesson on the building the roller coasters and using the marbles and the tracks. And the only camera in that teacher's classroom was the one at her desk that was facing the back corner of the room. So I was
Oh, no.
teaching the roller coaster demo without being able to see any students or any roller coasters they were designing. We got through it. The kids seemed to have fun. I could pick up what they were saying a little bit and try to steer them in the right direction, but it was definitely a learning experience.
Wow.
The teacher tried, and basically, I think she had an old school desktop, and it was too big and too bulky and not enough space on her desk to turn it around to face the class. So yeah, Jesse taught to corners and closet doors. But in talking to the teacher afterwards, the students enjoyed it and it seemed to work. They had a good experience. They learned something about STEM, and I think she had to work a lot harder than she thought she was going to that day, but it was a win.
But even teaching to the back corner of the room and not being able to see anything, there were multiple groups of students that were able to complete it, and all their marbles and all the balls went down their tracks and it held up.
That's good.
Has there been any suggestion or thought about asking a teacher to not only log in with her computer, laptop, smartboard, whatever they're using camera wise, but also to use their smartphone where they could walk around the room for us as a second screen from the school?
We hadn't thought about that or asked yet. It's certainly something that can be added to it. I think within these first ones that we did, and they were early enough in the school year that I think the teachers were still just adjusting to teaching under COVID. I feel like asking them to do one more thing may have sent us all over the edge. But now, now that they've done this for months, I bet we could ask for one more step, and most of them would probably be able to help us out on that. So yeah.
I mean, they may not all, but I think it, especially like in Jesse's case, that might have been helpful.
I think anything would have been helpful.
So.
Any other questions? Any slides you
Angel,
need to see again?
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, one more. This is Chris again. For the demo ideas and demos, what's the target time that you want to try and hit for those? Because you're not really interacting much, right? Or maybe some questions, but it's obviously not an activity for them. So what are you trying to hit for a time frame?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say 20 to 30 minutes might be ideal, because you're right. Without them doing something, keeping their attention for much longer might be difficult. However, if it's engaging and exciting and it goes 45, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that would be the absolute maximum. The other program managers here in the building that run our guest speaker and mentor series have also been doing this. And I have seen some of those go an hour, which if you've ever been in a classroom, as we all know, no one's going to pay attention that long. But unfortunately, I have seen kids, because some of them were literally doing this from home, I've seen them lay down on the couch. I've seen a couple fall asleep. I got to say, I was offended on many, many levels as a mom and a teacher in that one. But that's why I'm thinking like that 30 minutes might be ideal. I think sometimes it just goes too long. So let's say 20 to 30 is perfect.
Okay.
30 to 45 is totally acceptable.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question about the demos. So I had an idea for one, but I'm not sure what I can do about the materials, because
Okay.
for my idea, that would be pretty complicated. And I'm wondering, could we show videos or pictures or something like that?
Yeah.
Like
am
instead of
so
bringing in
not-
physical materials?
Yeah, absolutely. I am not totally tech savvy enough to say, yes, we can make that happen. But I know enough people smarter than me that we can figure out how to make that happen. So I'm totally good with that idea. We actually talked about that as an idea for the rocketry lesson. To do the talk in here is simple. I don't think we could take the equipment outside to show them launching some of these model rockets, but we've talked about ways that we can show a video of this having happened already. So yes, I'm sure there's a way. I'm sure somebody smarter than me can figure out how to get that done.
All right.
Anybody else? Going once. I want to go back to this one slide just to make sure we're all on the same page. It'd be nice if I had I think it's going to work. No, it didn't want to work. I love technology. Really, I do. I can send you all the PowerPoint if you're all interested, but I just wanted to make sure that we had a basic understanding of the different flights and what happens on this end and what you're responsible for and what you're not. So that's what I really just wanted to clarify there at the end.
No, that's good. Thank you.
All right, you guys let
Thanks.
me know if you have any questions later. Let me know if you have any interest in signing up for some of the things or some of the next things that come through. And I will talk with you all soon.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good to see
Angel.
you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Angel. Great job.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And thank you.
All right.